He was obsessed with Eris before, and now he's moved on too. Everyone's moving on from Eris. I hope Eris comes back having found somebody of her own. That she's not, like, left on her own with nobody. Hey everybody, welcome back to the Stone Face Reactions. I'm Theta, and we are back with another episode of Mushoku Tensei. We are getting into Season 2, Episode 8, The Fiancé of Despair. Oh, I forgot this thing isn't up. Boom, there we go. What I recall is this is the four-armed guy? Sorry, I'm just in a mental space now. Did they identify as a man or a woman? I believe they identified as a man. And they want to challenge Rudy. I also remember there's an element of everybody being, like, pairing off in, like, relationships or something. I do not implicitly know, or rather remember exactly what I'm thinking of. So, as a follow-up to the kidnapping of the girls thing, I remember I just was harping on specific problems. But I do recall there's this whole thing about Rudy's position in the school vis-a-vis his dominance over the two socialite girls and everybody being, like, in a line to court them, and then Rudy has taken over that position or something. Beyond the duel, which I believe happens this episode, I don't recall much else of high stakes or anything jumping out at me. So I guess there's not really much to discuss here, but to, again, hop on into it.
But before we get started,
make sure that you hit the like button,
hit that subscribe button,
comment down below to feed that algorithm.
On top of all that, if you want to watch more shows like this, unfiltered,
uncensored,
and uncut,
as well as some early access stuff,
you can check it out over on the Patreon.
It's just $5 a month, but hey, no pressure.
There's zero pressure in order to do that. It's just a little bit of extra support, and it would be greatly appreciated.
I guess it's just a different thing when it's happening out in the open. So certainly it's different when you kidnap them and tie them up. What was the theory? That he was the Pope? Or related to the Pope? Sorry, there was a lot in 16.5 that just kind of goes unsaid that I'm not entirely aware of the meaning. Was the implication she was naked? Because we know from experience how often she gets railed in front of windows. And yes, I had completely forgotten about the start of that particular romance. Because if he is the Pope, that is a... If he is the Pope, that is a particular mirror to Jesus and Mary Magdalene, is it not? Especially if you can't blame her. She's fucking cursed. Again, it's another... Oh my god, I guess the first core of Season 1 gave me a lot of difficulties in regards to this show. The fact that they took it out of her hands, like, she's not doing it by choice. She either fucks a lot of dudes every day, or she dies. That is certainly a thing. But it goes into the whole... I don't know. I just can't wrap my head around it. There is something untoward about it, and I don't feel like I can express it outwards. It is just not a good situation. She lacks free will in this matter, and if you lack free will in a sexual encounter, that is... What's the word we typically use for it? See, if I think correctly, I think this is probably around the time that I was like hoping for that storyline of Rudy recognizing what he had done before. But he doesn't.
お前に助けられる筋合いは。いや、助かったよ。ありがとう。どういたしまして。てっきり噛みつかれるかと思ったが、敵じゃないと認識したのか。そもそもなんで俺はクリフに嫌われているんだ。まあ、いいか。
I do find him to be an interesting character. Although, again, at 16.5, he seemed to be into getting his ass kicked, so...
おい。実は好きな子がいるんだ。おうよ。
The awkwardness of asking Rudy for advice.
告白の練習をとでも言うのか。あの人なんだ。おい。
I guess I'm mocking him for asking Rudy for advice, but to be fair, Rudy is constantly surrounded by girls, so clearly there's something. She's actually going to the school? I mean, not like she's going to school, I know she's here. I mean, she's actually attending classes and getting grades. I guess to be fair, she's an elf, she could be exceptionally old.
昨日の奴らが流していたんだ。だからやめさせようとしたんだが。残念ながら嘘じゃないんだよな。なぜその話を僕に？その紹介してくれないか。知り合いなんだろ。
I wonder what would come from this guy meeting Eris again. He was obsessed with Eris before, and now he's moved on too. Everyone's moving on from Eris. I hope Eris comes back having found somebody of her own. That she's not, like, left on her own with nobody. Not that she needs anybody, but I just don't want that for her, right?
紹介するには少々問題がありまして、こういう場合どうするべきですかね。ルーデウス君はその女性のことをどう思ってるの？嫌いではありません。恋愛対象としては見れませんが。
Not that you wouldn't have before.
でも
Before the
そう
ED.
いう目で見れないだけで、クリフ君は別かもしれないよね。僕も好きな人がいるから、その人の気持ちはわかるよ。フィッツ先輩に好きな人？誰だろう。無難に考えるとアリエル王女かね。
I think Ariel would be the worst bet. I don't think you'd let them stay in the same room together if they had a crush. You'd get the other guards to womanize her too. You wouldn't get either of them. You'd get that gorilla lady.
言われてみれば確かにその通りか。わかりました。フィッツ先輩、ありがとうございました。お役に立てたなら何よりです。
I can only assume that's Fitz's way of, hey, you remember the ears? He had a friend that had ears like this. Again, I'm more surprised that she's just hanging out in the window and not getting railed in front of a window.
クリフ先輩、来る前にも言いましたが、どういう結果になっても僕は関知しませんからね。
もちろん振られるのは覚悟の上だ。
エリナ・リーゼさん、こちらはクリフ・グリモルさん、特別生で一つ上の先輩です。
ご紹介に預かりました。クリフです。
あらあら、これはどうもご丁寧に。エリナ・リーゼ・ドラゴンロードですわ。それでクリフさんはこの私に一体どんなご用ですの？
何でも
I think it is exceptionally odd, though, that these two wind up together.
はい、エリナ・リーゼさんのお美しいお顔はいつも拝見していました。ぜひとも個人的なお付き合いをお願いしたいのです。
ちょっと
何ですか？
いくら欲しいんですの？
まさか先輩を売りに来た。
I guess maybe there's an element of the fact that they never actually express the fact that it has to be a different boy
あなた私
or a
のこと
different
を
guy
分
every
かってるでしょ？
time.
あんな騙しやすそうな子を連れてくるなんて恥を知りなさい。
恥知らずはどっちだよ。
So that she could get it from the same source every time, and that'd be fine.
なんだったらロキシー師匠に誓ってもいいですよ。
ルーデウスの言葉が本当だとしても本気の子はちょっと困りますわ。
意外だな。実はそんなこともあろうかとか言って宿に連れ込むかと思ったんだが。
私の呪いはご存知でしょ？一人とお付き合いすることはできませんのよ。
Unless they're into it.
じゃあ仕方ありません。綺麗に
If Cliff is a cuck,
いいんですの？ルーデウスの顔に泥を塗るんじゃなくて？
I guess that maybe fits in with this I like to be abused mentality.
分かってますわよ。ルーデウス、人の恋路を覗き見るもんじゃありませんわよ。
そうですね。では僕はこれで失礼します。
ルーデス、ありがとう。クリフには悪いが、これが一番いい結末だろう。
Yeah, I mean, it's weird for me, but I mean, good luck. I wish them all the best,
お
really.
はようございます。
ルーデス、おはよう。
私たち付き合うことになりましたの。
Again, this is what makes it so
あ
weird.
んな男
This
らしい
part.
プロポーズをされては、さすがの私でもキュンと来てしまいましたのよ。
それはおめでとうございます。ですが呪いを。
私、これからはクリフのためになるべく我慢することにしましたのよ。
エリナ・ディーゼだけに辛い思いはさせない。
If he is like the Pope or related to the religion or something,
エリナ・ディーゼ。
was he able to say something? Or mind control her or something like that?
そういうことなら、俺は何も言うまい。
In a second go through of this, I have to now think maybe Cliff is evil.
直して誰かとイチャイチャしたいものだ。
Because it does seem so fucking weird that instantly, like one day, boom, she's into it. I guess that's just my two things. Either Cliff is a cuck
ですね。
or Cliff is evil.
なんでも秋になると異性同士で決闘して勝った方が家族のボスとなるらしい。従属なりのプロポーズのようなもので、つまりは発情期だな。そして従属といえばあの二人もなんだが、リニアとプルセナ、ドルディア族の二人の姫君は従属にとって憧れの的。求婚という名の決闘の申し込みが後を絶え
Right,
ない。
that's why. Because it's
だ
a
から
beast kid
この時
thing
期は女子
only.
寮に引きこもるという連絡をもらったんだが、手紙にはあとは頼むとも書いてあった。一体何を頼むというのだ？
泥沼のルーデウス殿とお見受けする。我と尋常なる婚儀の決闘を。
Sorry, that's pretty fucking hilarious.
それはあれですか。この時期流行りの求婚の決闘ってやつですか。
さよう。
ああ、
すいません、僕こう見えても割と
There's a Australian version of Archer that I love, where one of the jokes is the guy goes whispering to a guy like this, and the camera pans back and he's on the other side of the dude.
いざ尋常に勝負。
じゃあ決着ということで。
ルーデウス君。
I guess fair enough. It could be that Cliff is actually manly enough to keep up with her needs, but I don't know that we've ever implicitly been expressed by Cliff that he is that manly of a man.
とは言っても2人が困っているのも事実でしょうし、はあ、むさ苦しい男だらけの決闘大会か。
男だらけってほどじゃないよ。一人だけ女の子もいたし。
マジっすか？可愛い子でした？
ふーん。ルーデウス君は
Only confirming that the greyrat line or the no test line is womanizers.
フィッツ先輩！なんだこりゃ。
我が輩に挑むとは魔法大学というのは気骨のある者が集まっておるようだな。おお、順番間違いやなら全員倒せというのでそうしてみたら本当にすぐ出てきたではないか。その予見眼、貴様がルーデウス・グレイラットか。
But what was the point of challenging them all anyway?
魔界大帝キシリカより話は聞いておる。我が名は魔王バーディーガーディ。貴様に決闘を申し込む。わけがわからない。
So why did he challenge all the people in the field if he... Did he want the two girls?
すみません、自分の杖を取ってきてもらっているもので。
人族はせっかちだと思ったので急いだが、貴様には余裕があるようだな。さすがは我がフィアンセに認められる。
Ironically, I was told never to put your hands in that position. Specifically because it looks like you're trying to cover an erection. It's ironic because that's the one thing Rudy can't be trying to cover right now.
貴様のことをすごいと評しておったぞ。あれほど興奮して話す彼女を見たのは久しぶりでな。
She always speaks with excitement.
他人より少しばかり魔力が多いようですが。
座るがよい。ラプラスよりすごい。彼女がそんなことを言ったのは貴様が初めてである。
I guess she knows Lapis, or she's talking out of her ass.
魔力総量を誇るというわけであるな。
そうなんですか？確かに昔から魔力を増やす訓練はしてきましたけど。
それだけではラプラス以上の魔力総量にはならん。普通ならありえんことだ。
普通ならありえないなら、俺のように転生してきたものはどうなのだろうか。
Maybe that implies Lapis was reincarnated.
をもらっていたとか。
魔王様、一つお尋ねしたいことがあるのですが、決して僕は今から口にする人物の手先とか配下とかそういう感じではないので、唐突に襲いかかってこないでほしいのですが。
貴様が待てと言ったのであろう。魔王は約束を破らん。
人神という名前に聞き覚えはありますか？
貴様、その名前をどこで聞いたのだ？
I mean, implicitly, that's not even a name.
そうか。夢にか。
何かご存知で？
わからん。
そうですか。
急に黙りおってつまらんやつだな。
I would have to think that if Man God has a name, it's a name. In the same way that I would think that Technique God has a name.
ごめん、ルーデウス君、お待たせ。
先輩、すみません、こんなことをお願いしてしまって。
無理しないでね。ごめんなさいして逃げても誰も何も言わない相手だから、命だけはね。
魔王様。
バーディーでよいぞ。
ではバーディー陛下、一つ提案があります。
なんだ。
もし僕が負けても、どうか命だけは助けてください。
始める前から命乞いか。
I mean, we already know how this works,
命は大切にすべ
but I
きです。
believe the more interesting bit about this contest is the description of how Rudy forms the magic thing he does.
まずい。人神の名前が大丈夫だったから安心していた。オルステッドの方がダメだったか。
では、一つ我が輩から提案をしよう。
なんでしょうか。
一発だけだ。一発だけ貴様の奥義を我が輩に向かって放て。それで我が輩に傷がつけば貴様の。
Again, the Dragon Dude fight was like the best fight in the whole show. It was so many different layers and so many different elements, even though it was a one-sided ass kicking.
あの時は素手で片手でとっさに作った。でも今回は時間があるなら思い切り貯めてやる。形成魔力を練り上げ硬くする。フィギュアを作る時と一緒だ。ただ今回はもっと
That's how a drill works, by the way. You're Logon fans.
貫けるように速度魔力を練り込み、今俺ができる限りの最速で。
では行きますよ。
来い。
By the way, they have the confidence to say, hit me with your best shot, no matter what. I would have to assume that whatever their weakness is implicitly unknowable, so that they're not afraid to get hit by whatever.
生きてた。
死ぬかと思ったぞ。貴様の勝ちだ、ルーデウスよ。勇者を名乗っても
I have to assume it's like a cell situation. So you have to destroy all of them at once.
勝ち時をあげよう。
よくわからないが判定勝ちってことでいいんだろう。
勝ったぞー。
さて、では我が輩の番だな。
I mean, you have to believe that he didn't hit him as hard as possible.
はい、これで大丈夫。
ありがとうございます。
でもあんな騒ぎを起こしたばっかりだから、今日はもうゆっくり休んで。
フィッツ先輩もありがとうございました。
なんだか疲れた。決闘やら魔王やら今日は大変だったな。まあでもこれで会うこともないだろう。
Or every day from now on.
さすがボスだにゃ。おかげで決闘を挑んでくるやつもいなくなった
And no one wants to take on Rudy.
まさか魔王まで来るとは思わなかったの。私たちは魔性の女なの。よくぞ
Have
守
a
ってくれ
bag
た
of
の。
meat all
俺
the
に胸
time.
を揉んでいいの。リニアの。
ありがとうございます。
To be fair, deserved. Stop being that guy, Rudy.
不死身の魔王バーディーガーディ参上。
嘘だろ。
But what happened to Genius Half-Ass? Ah, he's probably half-ass again. Sorry, I realized that came out as a blur of noise. He's probably half-assing it again, is what I was trying to say. Yeah, again, it's not... This was a fun episode, but I felt like the impetus was mostly about how does the magic get made, right? Or not how does magic get made, how do spells work? I guess the implicit thing is that since Rudy doesn't invoke, we don't hear the steps, but that Rudy is doing them in his own mind, and we don't always get his internal monologue. So that was his internal monologue on a spell, and it took us towards the end of the first core of Season 2 for us to hear it. Which I guess if you're reading the light novels, you already knew all that. I mean, other than that, just the social dynamic of being a beastkin in heat. Okay. And next episode, we'll get introduced to the actual, I'm going to say most important person of Season 2 so far that I'm aware of. Is she the most important person to Season 2 so far? I guess, maybe. Could make an argument for Soul, in that Soul keeps Rudy from killing himself, which is arguably very important to the show. In that I don't know who we'd be following if Soul wasn't there to stop Rudy from stabbing himself in the throat. Still hope Sarah comes back, but that seems highly unlikely. Sylphet is obviously very important to Season 2. However, I'm not certain how important, or comparatively how important. I've forgotten White Mask Lady's actual name, because I don't have the board up, obviously. But she's very important to the overall story. Like, what's happening? What's Mushoku Tensei ultimately the story going to be about? What is human God's aim, right? That whole thing. So I find her importance matches the importance of the show versus the character's importance during a season. You would argue that she's as important, I feel like, as Rudy is, whereas Rudy's story might not be important to a lot of people overall. To the show, he is the most important. In the same light as I believe my theory is that there's still going to be one guy out there still. There should be one guy in the world who has also been isekai'd. My memory's failing me now. There was 3 people and Rudy, right, in the car wreck. Rudy and 2 people died, and we saw one guy sitting outside of the ambulance, implying that a guy and a girl and Rudy, since I don't know Rudy's real name in the real world, got isekai'd. So it should be her, we got Rudy, and there should be a third guy, or a second guy, third person, still left to be discovered. It's a miracle I remember that, given how far it's been, but I remember it was one of my original theories way back with Griff. Which means it has been a theory that I must have mentioned once when I watched it with Griff, and then got halfway through Season 2. Then I must have mentioned it again with Justin, finished Season 1, and here I am reminding myself of it. I don't know, though. The element of we're doing different methods of isekai is the element that has me most interested. We've done Rebirth, that's Rudy. We've done teleportation, right? That's White Mask. She got teleported, so she is the original person she was here. What other versions of isekai are there? For somebody who's watched isekai so much, I'm ashamed that I'm blanking. I think it's probably because of the fact that I really got into isekai during the MMO resurgence, right? Sword Art Online, Log Horizon, I guess technically to a lesser extent Overlord. I mean, that would be a thing. That the guy gets transferred over into another person's body, which I guess would be the Overlord method. Because what else is there? But there's also all the weird fantasy ones. My problem with Rebirth, Mushoku Tensei, Rudeus' method, is that there are so many fantasy anime out there that want to cash in on isekai, but don't really care about doing isekai. God, what is his name? The Magician's Grandson? Something like that? Where literally the first episode, first 5 minutes, boom, he's a baby, he died in the real world, now he's here. We don't talk about the real world ever again. We got the isekai tag off of the Rebirth, and that was it. In another world with my smartphone, that is literally dude getting transported over. Moonlit Fantasy, just a dude getting transported over. I don't know, I'm kind of like failing here. The only other way I could see this, the other classic isekai is time travel. You know, a kid in King Arthur's court, which would also still just be normal body, same place, but you would come back from the future. But, that doesn't really work, because this place is clearly not the past of the real world. I don't know. Hit me up with other isekai methods in the comments, and I'll go over them. Because it's not coming to me right now. I have been so entrenched in the 1 to 2 methods for so long that nothing else is coming to me. Otherwise, it's like all gateways and portals or time tunnels in a well if you want to go to Inuyasha as isekai. Otherwise, I think that's it for this episode. Once again, I have been Theta. We've been Stone-Faced Reactions. We will catch you next time. Bye-bye.
Hey everybody, thanks for watching another Stone-Faced Reactions. If you have an idea of another video we could go ahead and watch, go ahead and put it in the comments down below and we'll add it to the wheel. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and let us know what you thought about this video and what parts you liked. And until then, we'll see you next time. Is this too goofy?